Salam mamas, and welcome back to another episode of the Nourished Mom podcast. And this is the series that we're doing, the mothers that are making a difference in East Africa. And today I have one of the amazing guests, and I think I will say for all of the guests that are coming, because they are amazing and we just get connected here in Kenya. A friend that we got connected in a networking event, and we instantly felt like we knew each other. I don't know, before we even met. And so she's my amazing guest, her name is Maryan Ismail. And we're going to be talking about everything about immigration opportunities for healthcare workers from Kenya to Canada. And so welcome, Karibu, Maryan.
Thank you, Fozia. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate having met you and then also being invited here. It's a great opportunity to have met you. And also, I really appreciate what it is that you do for the community and what you're doing for mothers. So thank you.
And I'm so honored to have you, Maryan. And so I just wanted you to let us know a bit about you and what season of motherhood you are in. And yeah.
Okay, so just a little correction. My name is Maryan Ismail.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it sounds the same. Yeah, it's okay. It sounds the same. They all do, I get that all the time, so it's okay. So again, my name is Maryan Ismail. I'm a mother of two children, a 9-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl. So I'm kind of between that toddler stage as well as that child stage. So it's kind of dealing with two generations, which is quite nice. But also originally from Canada, I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. That's where the immigration part comes in. So I kind of relocated to Kenya to find opportunities here to see, because I've been licensed now for about 5 years, and a majority of my clients were Kenyan. So I saw that there are opportunities where Canada was lacking a lot of nurses and early childhood educators. So I realized that the opportunities are here. I've met with a lot of nurses that were highly qualified, and having done this for about 5 years, I realized that the education is very much the education in Kenya is very much comparable to the education in Canada. So I saw that opportunity, decided to move here, and moved with my children, alhamdulillah. So it's been an adjustment period. Yeah. It's very different, as you know, coming from Australia yourself, getting accustomed to a different world where, over there you drive on a different side, and yes. You have the convenience of a drive-through bank and a drive-through grocery store, which is so adjustment period. But alhamdulillah, I'm really enjoying being here, and I'm enjoying meeting a lot of my clients here and being able to help them to relocate and work over there. It's been a blessing so far, alhamdulillah.
That's amazing. And so how do you balance work, family, and the work that you do, mashallah, in the community?
Oh my goodness. So that's actually one of the main reasons why I decided to move over here, because I found that I was getting burnt out. I was working, I had my own office, running my own business, and also having a child in nursery and then having another child in school. So I would just get, our day would start about 6 o'clock, getting them ready, taking one to nursery and then taking my son to school. And then just as I get to my office, my daughter's nursery would call me and tell me that, she had some sort of bowel movement and she needs to be taken home. Yeah. And policy there is that, if they have more than one bowel movement a day, or if it's really loose, then you have to keep them home for 3 days. Awesome. So now how do you maintain a business and be able to take care of your children when you're a single parent and doing it on your own? Yeah. So I found that I was really experiencing burnout. Yeah. I started to have some health issues. I was constantly on the run. The shoes I would put on at 7 a.m. would be the shoes I would take off at 8 p.m. at night from extracurricular activities after I bring them home from school. So I was really suffering. So I decided that, okay, this is not sustainable.
Yep.
So once I made that move, I found that with help at home, I was able to focus more on my job.
Yeah.
I was able to be more productive.
Yeah.
When I was burnt out over there, my job was lacking as well. And these are people's lives in your hands. Like, these are people that are on the brink of being sent back to their home countries.
Yeah.
So they're putting all of their hopes and their dreams on you.
Yeah.
And, I had to make some adjustments. Initially I was going to court and I was, representing people, and I had to stop that because I wasn't able to take it on seriously. Yeah. And I just didn't think it was fair to them when I had so much things going on in my life, and, and I'm a mother first. So I prioritized my children. If my child wasn't feeling well at night, I couldn't go and represent anyone in the morning, So I thought it wasn't fair to them because these are people that will be sent back if I don't do my job. Yeah. Right. So I was like, okay, I can't do that to them. So I kind of took a step back from that, and I just was doing more of applications and, nothing really that had to do with status, but more of like, if they wanted to bring in families, if they wanted to have a family member relocate to Canada to work. I started doing more of that. I found that was kind of something that I can do. Exactly. Yeah. So I had to make a lot of adjustments, but it got almost to a breaking point where I couldn't sustain it anymore. So June of 2024, I cut a ticket for my children and I said, that's it. I gotta go. Yeah. I was like, if I continue this, I don't know. I wasn't able to do either of them at the capacity that I was supposed to. Yeah. But like, it was kind of like, my children came first, but I also needed to work so I can provide for them. Yeah. So really, I felt like I was chasing my tail, and it wasn't sustainable. So I was like, okay, I got on a plane and I was like, I need to do this. Yeah. So I didn't know what I was going to do in Kenya. I'm not Kenyan. I don't have residency here. I didn't know what was ahead of me. Yeah. But all I knew is that I needed to take care of my mental health because that was really suffering. Yeah. So alhamdulillah, I made the journey. I moved. My family was here, which was helpful as well. But I needed to figure out how now I'm going to start making money. My office over there was suffering because I'm not there. And all my clients are used to seeing me. So when that wasn't happening, I started to notice a decline in my clients. Yeah. A lot of them were transferring files, or because I just wasn't I'm not physically there. So because I wasn't physically there, they felt like I couldn't, do the correct job or do it to the way it was supposed to be done. Yeah. So, then it's like you have to start balancing. Yeah. I'm getting the help that I need. I'm taking care of my mental health, but also I'm suffering financially. Yeah. Whereas over there.
So now here you feel like you have more support, isn't it? Like,
absolutely. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. I feel like I have a lot more support. Yeah. I have, a nanny. I have, a cook and stuff. So I have that help that I wasn't afforded over there.
It was not affordable there.
Exactly. No one could afford it over there, of course. Yeah. But, the trade-off was over there, I was making really good money running my own business. Yep. Being there daily and, whenever it is that I needed to be there. Yeah. So it really, was kind of getting to a point where it was like, okay, deal with burnout over there, but make really good money. Yeah. Or, not make so much money here but have that help and be able to take care of my mental health. Yes. Be able to go to a gym. That's something I wasn't able to do over there because I was on a tight schedule. It was like I had to be here and I had to be there and I had to be there. Yeah. So, wow.
So you going through a lot, Allahumma barik, and especially that being a single mom.
Absolutely.
Like you are managing all this, Allahumma barik. So how would you sort of, send a message to the single mothers who are doing or even want to start their own business and be there for their kids as well? What helped you as well?
My faith helped me. Yeah. I got to a point where single motherhood is very lonely. Yeah. It's an extremely lonely, process. Like you're doing it all on your own. Yeah. You're wearing many hats. You're a father, you're a mother, you're a nurturer, you're disciplinary, you're pretty much everything. Yep. So kind of doing it on your own, And then at the end of the night, it's just you by yourself. Like there's no one to bounce ideas with.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to do something for your children or you're thinking of even making the move to Kenya, I didn't have a partner to run those ideas by.
Yeah.
You know, that it helps sometimes too. I mean, alhamdulillah, I have my sisters that they're kind of like my soundboard, but having a partner that's in the trenches with you really makes the difference.
Yeah.
So advice I would I give to single mothers is be easy on yourself.
Yeah.
It's hard. The world breaks us down every day. We are status quo.
Yeah.
Being a single mother, it's really a status quo. It's something that's stigmatized.
Yeah.
You know, especially in our community and most every community I've ever seen, single mothers are stigmatized. It's always the woman that's the problem.
Yeah.
So I always, the greatest advice that I would give them is be easy on yourself, really.
Yeah.
You know, be compassionate to yourself, be kind to yourself, because no one else will be kind to you. So really take the time for yourself. For me, I found that, you know, a better part of my motherhood journey has been about my children.
Yeah.
Putting them ahead of myself and my well-being and everything. And, you know, in our culture, a mother, you know, sacrifices for her children. They eat before she does.
Yeah.
Sometimes she doesn't eat at all.
Yeah.
You know, so I needed to learn that I needed to put myself first.
Yeah.
One of the greatest things that I've ever done in my life is therapy.
Yeah.
I've done therapy for 4 years, and I really found that it helped me immeasurably. Like it really helped me be able to understand myself, to be able to really listen to myself and listen to the voice inside of me. And trust my instinct and trust the decision that I was making for myself and my children was the best, given the circumstance. That's one thing I learned, you know, you always make the best decision given the circumstance you're in. You know, that's really all you can do. Can't really do any more than that. So
asking for support, because I always tell the mamas that I coach or like, you know, just see my content online that asking support is not weakness. It's like really power. And that's a strength. Like, you know, you're just saying that I don't know what's happening in my life or I need help to figure this out. And that's what you're asking. And that's something that you mentioned here. Therapy helped you.
Oh, yes. Therapy immeasurably. And also my family.
Yeah.
I had...
you have that support.
Yes, absolutely. It's like great support. My sisters are really, you know, they're my best friends. Like they're my soundboards. I run all my ideas through them. Anytime I want to make a decision because they know me, you know, and they know the rational part of me and they know the emotional part of me. So they know when the emotional part of me is activated. I don't never really found a problem with asking for help. Like when my son was 11 months old, I went to my sister and I said, you know, if you do not help me right now, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I really had to say that out loud. Where I was like, I don't know what's going to happen to my child and I don't know what's going to happen to me. So if you need to step in right now, and that had really changed the trajectory of our relationship. And now they know when I ask for help, like it's serious. You know, cause I like to take on everything myself. I like to handle it all on my own. If my child's sick, I'm up with them all night. When I was doing the program, the immigration program, I had my son at that time and, you know, he would be up through the whole night, throwing up and sick. And I had an exam the next morning. And I would do it. You know, I didn't ask for help unless I thought it was absolutely necessary.
So but when I take it on a lot.
I do as much as I possibly can. But like they've learned that when I ask, I'm at that breaking point. They need to step in.
Do you change as well? Like that you ask help earlier than ask it until like when you are at the breaking point? Because that's really important for us as moms. We usually take on until we like, we can't do it. But then that's like a bit too late, isn't it? So did you change anything about that? Or what do you think?
I think I still kind of do that. I really just rely on myself. When it comes to doing everything for them. But I I don't really like to bother people.
Yeah.
You know, that's my biggest issue, is that I don't want to cause any sort of inconvenience for them or bother them in any way. But like, I also reserve that help for when I really need it. You know, I don't want to be like that boy that cried wolf where I'm constantly like, oh, you know, I need help. No, I save it for like those times I really need it. So when I do ask, nobody says no. They step in. You know, and stuff. So that's the kind of system I've built. Maybe it's a little unhealthy. I don't know.
No, but mashallah, probably because you don't want to bother people.
Absolutely.
But you do also ask for support. Like you are, I think you're like so independent on yourself.
I am, exactly.
And since you have your kids and you are the father and the mother,
exactly,
probably it changed the way
absolutely
you ask for support.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, because I feel like, you know, it's kind of your responsibility. Right? Like these other people did not make these children with you.
Yes.
There were two people that had made them, and one of them is not there.
Yeah.
So you really take on that full responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, but going through therapy, a lot of things I had to work out through therapy.
Yeah.
I started to realize that, you know, I was parenting my child from a place of guilt.
Okay.
You know, and also I, you know, realized through therapy that, some of the things that would upset me about what my children do are really my triggers, right? I'm being triggered by something. So because of that, I react to them.
Okay.
And it's like unnecessary. Like food was one of the things that were my triggers. I didn't even realize.
Oh, so how?
Yeah.
In what way?
Like when he didn't finish a plate of food, I would like go berserk on him.
Yeah.
You know, and then I realized through my therapist, it's because it stems from my childhood and being a one of 8.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the scarcity. Yeah. And, you know, and you eat a plate is brought out and you all eat.
Yeah.
You know, and
you expect it.
Exactly. And it's like, if you don't, you don't, you know, it gets finished and stuff. So I started to make connections with my triggers and the way I, you know, get so upset at my children for something so I also, through making those connections, I also learned how to deal with them and how to handle and how to recognize those triggers.
I mean, like awareness is like a key. Like I tell that to the mamas, like when you know your triggers, especially 100%. With the emotional, like if you want to become a calm parent or parent from a better, as you said, like a place of responding, not reacting.
Exactly.
Like knowing your triggers can be like very transformational.
No, it's a superpower, to be honest. It really is a superpower because you start to realize when it comes on, right? And then you take yourself away for a minute or a second. Yeah. You know, I would go to my room. My therapist said, go to your room. Yeah. Take a moment. Take a
so that's
breath.
The pose. Yes, like you posing and
exactly. Yeah. And kind of reconnecting with yourself. Wow. And like doing deep breaths. And then once you reconnect with yourself, then you're able to really, I love that you said, you know, parenting for like, not reacting. Yeah. Not being so reactionary to everything. Like, so I really had to learn a completely different way of parenting.
And if you're not like that, it's okay. Like
absolutely.
Being aware is like really key. And sometimes we do react.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, we're human, we're not perfect. Yeah. But subhanAllah, like just what you said now about your therapist, I teach that as well in my pose and calm technique, exactly. Which is like, if you felt like like things are getting out of hand in the heat of the moment, you just like, okay, just make sure that your kids are in a safe.
That's what he said to me.
And just go and just say, I'll talk to you in 5 minutes or something. Just calm yourself down and immediately you will come back differently and you will be able to handle those triggers that triggered you from the start.
No, absolutely. You know, so what I did is I got them like a bouncy castle in the house.
Okay.
So I would, you know, plug it in for them and I would blow it up. And then that would be like my moment where I would just go upstairs.
Okay.
And like, I know they're safe. The door is locked. They're in that bouncy castle. They're jumping and having fun. And I would go upstairs and just kind of reconnect with myself. Yeah. You know, give myself a few minutes. And you know, and then, one of the things he said to me was he said, you know, you have to give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Like you have to give yourself, like be compassionate to yourself.
Yeah.
He said, the way you speak to yourself, like you would never speak to anyone else like that.
Yeah.
So he said, start with yourself. Like be compassionate and speak words of affirmation and kindness to yourself, which, that's what I began to do. I'll just kind of go upstairs and, just kind of reconnect with myself, but also prayers helped with that as well. Those 5 daily prayers, you got to be like alone with yourself and just kind of reconnect with yourself as well.
That's the next one I wanted to ask you, because you said the faith as well helped you like manage and especially being a single mom and, running your own business. Mm-hmm. So how did faith came in as a Muslim?
So, honestly, okay, so I'm going to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Having been when I got divorced, I like to understand, reasons why. Like, I like to really understand what had brought me to that point and try to understand what I learned from it. There's a lesson in everything.
Of course. Yeah.
So, second time, I realized that it really isolated me from everyone. My divorce isolated me, where I realized that I only relied on Allah. There's no one else. And I remember prior, like when I was in my 20s, I would always call a friend of mine and I would always, say, Hallie, this is what I'm going through and whatever. And she'll always be like, talk to Allah. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, Allah can't talk back to me. SubhanAllah, you have those thoughts. But like, my divorce taught me that. Like, so after that experience, I learned that Allah's the only one that understands me. He's the only one that can change my circumstance. Yeah. No human being in this world can change my circumstance. It's only Allah that could. So having that complete and utter reliance on Him allowed me to let go. I'm not in control.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not in control. I can only try.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else is up to Allah. So, alhamdulillah, and then I started to think of prayers. Like if I missed it, oh my God, how could you make the same Allah that give you all those blessings angry by not praying?
Yeah.
How could you disobey the very Allah that had brought you through those hardships?
Yeah.
Had, brought you through everything that you've been through from your childhood all the way up to your adulthood. So I started to live my life in a way where I didn't want to disappoint Allah. I wanted to strive and I wanted to make sure that I do more than I'm supposed to do to not displease Him. And then, I began to wake up for tahajjud. And whenever it is I had a problem, I always made sure that I cried to Allah. Like I poured everything, and I no longer had a desire to call anyone and tell anything to. It was just Allah so that's how it began, and that's how it kind of strengthened all the way through.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
SubhanAllah, you just said something that I wanted to highlight. And many of us do that. Like when we are facing hardship, the first thing we think of is calling a friend or a family member, which is not bad, but that's the first thing that comes to us, like as if they have answers.
Absolutely.
And I like that your friend is telling you to talk to Allah, because maybe some other friends won't tell you that. They will just let you vent and all that. But then subhanAllah, you had a righteous friend, mashallah, telling you to talk to Allah, directing you to where.
Alhamdulillah, I remember that. I remember our conversation, like it was yesterday, almost about 15 years ago. Yeah. Her telling me that, and I thought she was crazy. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, how am I gonna, Allah will not be able to talk back to me, but I realized in those, moments of silence where you're praying and it's pitch dark at night and it's just you and Allah, oh my goodness, those conversations are amazing. And that's what through my faith, actually, with my second child, I did not deal with postpartum depression. Alhamdulillah, that's because I dealt with it with my son. And I was terrified with my daughter that was going to happen again, because it took me to a really dark place with my son. So with my daughter, like I would, put on my earpods, I would strap her to my chest, and I would like, wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah, just everything like astaghfirullah, wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah, like la ilaha illallah.
Would you listen? Are you listening to the Quran, or were you listening?
No, I'm repeating those dhikrs.
Subhanallah.
So I have them in my earpods. I'm doing 1,000 of them. I made sure, and that's the same friend that actually told me to commit to that.
Oh, that is amazing.
She said, write it down.
Yeah.
So every single day, like, the salawat, I'd write down 500 salawats, 1,000 wala hawla wala quwwata, like, and just keep,
so you
like,
immersing yourself in the,
absolutely.
in the
I would put my earpods in, I would put on my running shoes, strap her on my chest, and like, I was postpartum, like I had a C-section like maybe a month before that. So I was just healing, but I needed to get outside.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to
walk.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would strap her on my chest. I would drop my son off to school, and I would just walk for an hour, and I would make sure I go through each of them. Like each of them one was 20 minutes, one was half an hour, one was 40 minutes. So I would make sure that I have all the time, and then I would like alternate every day. Yeah. But I would make sure before I leave, I'd write, this is how many I'm going to do, and whatever. And I found that it did. Oh my goodness.
And you like, would you contemplate on the meaning of it, or just like recite
it and calm my soul?
Yeah.
And when I cause I'm a visual person. Okay. So in order for me to understand the meaning of it and all that, I need to see it.
Okay.
Right. But like this for me was really calming my soul.
Yeah.
Hearing those dhikr and stuff was really, and then I memorized the morning adhkar and stuff. Yeah.
By doing that.
Yeah, by doing that. Exactly. By just listening to it regular. And even my son, like when we'll be going to school, dropping him off to school, we'd be listening to the morning adhkar every single morning. Yeah. Where he started to memorize it. And it was like a fun activity for both of us.
Wow. Yeah. Like I'm just so amazed because we have similar things, because I used to do that. I have 5 kids. Allahumma barik. And subhanAllah, every time, like nobody told me, but I used to find comfort in just listen. Yours was dhikr.
Yes.
For me, I used to listen lectures, like Islamic lectures.
Absolutely.
And just anything about my iman, my faith.
Absolutely.
And that actually made it like easier for me to come through. Alhamdulillah. Sometimes you do get stressed.
Absolutely.
And a bit of depression will come in, even though like it's not to the point that you are like hospitalized.
Got it.
But subhanAllah, that used to help me. I was just used to listen, or just do a course where I'm not attached to testing or anything or exams, but I just go through these lectures or like the 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, its meaning. Absolutely. And it was like calming my soul.
It does something for your soul.
But this is amazing. I like the way that you said that you're just immersing yourself with the dhikr, walking as well. And
it became part of my routine, and it really like it really helped me battle and fight postpartum, where I didn't, ease into it like I did with my son. I knew it was coming, and I knew I needed to do something. I needed to combat it some way. And that's what I found really helped, having aches and pains and a C-section and opening up and, all these things that I was going through. I found comfort in that dhikr and lectures here and there, but mostly like I would listen to the translation of a couple of surahs and stuff like that. But really it was a dhikr like that that I did consistently, and I actually committed to, and I listened to it daily, like at least an hour and a half. I made sure every single day that I did those dhikrs. And like it did wonders for me.
MashaAllah.
And it just kind of really heightened my relationship with Allah, and it bettered it, alhamdulillah. And I'm ever so grateful. I really, and so now I've learned a tool that I didn't have to go to therapy to learn, which is whenever it is that I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I feel that depression that you spoke about coming on, I turn to the dhikr. And I make sure that I keep doing it over and over again. And I found that it calmed me down, and it really just kind of balanced me out.
MashaAllah. And that will help any mama.
Absolutely.
Like that is going through postpartum.
Absolutely.
Or, sometimes we deal that with ourselves. We don't even tell our loved ones. And I think this tool is really great that, just immersing yourself with the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, putting on your AirPods or whatever works for you. That's amazing.
No, it's amazing, honestly, because postpartum is no fun.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't know if you've ever been through it, but postpartum is not fun.
I had that, it's coming, as I told you, it's knocking on my door. And that's when I'm like, okay, I have to.
You have to do something.
Yeah, because I had family members who went through postpartum depression. And as you said, it can take you to a dark place.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of my family members needed to be hospitalized.
Oh, wow. It became that bad, eh?
Yeah. And then it's not because she wasn't talking about it and she was not.
Nobody talks about it in our culture.
Yeah.
I'm very vocal about it because untreated postpartum turns into psychosis.
Yes.
And it's really bad. So I'm if you can go to therapy, in the early stages of it, therapy can be healed with it. You don't even need medication.
Yeah.
But for me, when my son was 2 years old is when I realized I needed therapy because I cried every single night for a year.
Yes.
And I knew this was not normal.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what it was. Who talks to you about postpartum depression?
Yeah.
They don't talk about it in our cultures, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody
I think for
mentions it.
Probably the babies who were born the generation 8, in the 70s and early 80s, maybe it's a bit hard for them to talk about.
Absolutely.
Even though for me, I was born in 1984, but I think it was just where I was raised.
Absolutely. And, it is where you're raised.
Yeah.
Because people our age here in Africa don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? You'll hear, people will say so nonchalantly, that woman has gone crazy, or that woman, this has happened.
Yeah.
But they don't understand how real postpartum is. In their cases in Canada, just as recent as last year, where a mother, had a 6-month-old and I think a 10-year-old or 8-year-old, something like that, and she jumped off of the Niagara Falls, and later on they realized
committed suicide.
She committed suicide with her children in tow. And that's the compassion of a mother. It's I don't want to leave them behind. I'm suffering in this world, but I don't want to leave them behind. So it's really, I'm a great advocate for postpartum, healing. And I don't know, I'm I love, that's why I really love what you do, because I feel like you are helping, you're really helping women understand all of these things that are unspoken of in our culture. Nobody ever talks about it. I feel like someone like you that brings it to the limelight and broadcasts it and, says, hey, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real. What you're feeling is not in your head.
It's
don't let anybody tell you you're crazy or whatever. This is real. And this is how you can get help.
Yeah.
And talking to a lot of sisters that have gone through postpartum, and having their perspective on how do they get better, how do they battle it, did they let it overtake them? I think that's the work you're doing is Allahumma barik, very important. It's something that's needed in our community, and may Allah bless you in it and always reward you. And everything that you do,
I just feel like we all moms need support, and we need to support each other, and just bring all these unspoken, as you said, topics or some things that we call it taboos, to life, and that you're not alone if you're going through that, and we've all dealt with it. Even if we all me and Maryam look like we have it together, we dealt with it, and we still deal.
We are a hot mess inside.
Exactly. So.
It's all a facade.
Yeah. And so it's really nice to bring it to light, and for the mother who's will watch us, or even listen on as an audio inside the podcast, just know that you're not alone. We all went through that, and we just sharing our experience. And maybe Maryam, we might bring you another episode to talk about that, because that's initially something that we wanted to talk about. Just how you manage being a single mom and all that, inshallah, even though we touched bases here. But this is amazing that you brought up Allahumma barik. And so if I just want to ask you, if you hear of a nourished mom, what does it mean to you to be a nourished mom?
What it means to me to be a nourished mom is a mother that her soul is nourished. Her mind is nourished. She's taking care of herself. She's listening to herself. She's being kind to herself. She's being compassionate to herself. She's giving herself grace. That's what I hear of nourishment. The same way, the body needs food, the soul needs, something. You need something it's passionate about, something that makes it get up in the morning, something that gives it a purpose. So nourishment to me means, nourishing all of you.
Yeah.
Your mind, your soul, your body, everything.
Yeah.
And just being fulfilled in every way, whatever that means to you. Yeah. We're all different. Fulfillment for me means different, than it does for you as, two Somali mothers, but we are living complete different experiences.
Exactly.
You having a partner, Allahumma barik, and, me not having it, like, it would mean fulfillment would mean different to either of us.
Yeah.
So
there's a time I've been solo parenting.
Oh yeah.
When he was always on this, like, his business
working,
trips. And I can sort of relate, but it's still like, you know, as you said, we have two different experiences, but
of course, but it's exactly, but ultimately we're both mothers.
Yes.
We both want the same thing for our children.
Yeah.
We both have hopes and dreams for our children. And one interesting thing that I learned, actually, I remember I was in a group therapy, which side note, but so I was in a group therapy and like, we're just kind of lying down and it was a bunch of like, Adam people and stuff. And, and I'm sitting there and I sat up and I said, my son, like, he better take care of me and he better do everything for me. And, the same way we were taught from our parents. And then they looked at me and they said, what makes you think he owes you anything? And I was like, excuse me? What do you mean he owes me everything? They're like, he didn't choose to be here. He didn't choose to be born. You chose to bring him to this world. He's his own individual. When I tell you, that turned on a light in my brain that like was an epiphany. Like it was literally an aha moment. And after that moment, I stopped trying to put my dreams and my hopes on my children. I realized and I recognized that they are individuals. They have their own needs, their own desires. I don't want to parent the way I was parented, where it was like, you have to. Because I told you so, because I brought you into this world. I didn't, as crazy as that, I was 30 and I didn't realize, I realized at that moment that, hey, I didn't have a choice in coming to this world.
Exactly. But again, like, it's different that in our religion, we teach them birr, like the obedience that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. So after worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, your parents come next into being kind to them and being polite and respectful. I mean, like, you kind of be different from
I feel like you have to be respectful, but kind of be your own person. You know what I mean? Like this person is still an individual. And also, like, as a parent, you have rights to these children. And that's one thing, actually, I'm taking right now a course, by Zad Academy. It's like a free 2-year program. So it's like a certificate and it's 4 semesters. So I'm in the second semester now.
What is it about?
It has everything. It has fiqh, hadith,
that's amazing.
seerah of the Prophet, everything. So it's 6 subjects. We have exams, tests and everything. But it's like completely free. It's amazing.
Nice.
They have a new semester actually starting next month. So if anyone's interested.
Inshallah, if you give us the link, and we put it in the show notes.
When I tell you, it's life-changing. But through that, I learned the rights of the children as well. The right of the child begins before they're even born to marry someone good. Someone that's going to be a good father, a good mother to them, to name them well. And then also to raise them well as well. But I think that's something that's not really consistent in our culture.
We see like, this is my right. I'm your parent.
Exactly.
But then,
you don't see that you as a child have a right. I have, those are my rights. Like, to be named well, to have a good father, good lineage, to
shelter, food.
And then also to put me in a place where I can learn the deen.
Exactly.
That is very important. So that changed my perspective on how I raise my children. And that they have rights over me. And it's not just me as a parent having rights over them. When I'm respectful, when I respect them and I love them and I'm kind to them, that will be reciprocated automatically. I don't have to do it by force. I don't have to do it by the iron fist and say, because I'm your mother, you have to respect me. So, and
that's a narrative we need to change in our Somalian community. I think we can speak for our community, but I'm sure it's common in
all the
African,
communities, yeah,
or all
and
Africans.
Asia as well.
Yeah.
You know, I learned this thing called walid asi, which I never really heard of before.
Walid asi.
Walid asi.
It's not the other way around.
No, it's like
it's the parent that's asi.
Exactly.
Oh, subhanallah.
Yes.
I never knew that.
Yes.
So when you neglect your
exact responsibility as a parent,
okay,
you know, having a child doesn't mean just because your body can physically do it does not mean you should.
Yeah.
You know, you see so many children being neglected, and you know, subhanallah, like. There was a girl that I'd met, she had a 13-year-old son who didn't know how to pray, you know, and that broke my heart.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, you're neglecting the very right that Allah, these kids are amana.
Yeah.
You know, Allah has entrusted them to you so you can teach them the deen, and you're not doing the very basics.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where I heard the term, you know, walid asid. Which I'm like, we need
so
to.
That's a bit different. Oh my God, this is like something that it's new to me as well.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that if you neglect your responsibility
mm-hmm.
and you're not there for them when they need you to teach them, and then like you want them to be good
there
to
for you later,
and be bari, like, you know, but you not being bari to them as well in how you raise them.
Exactly.
It makes a lot of sense.
No, because and my therapist always used to say, if you do the front end, the back end will work itself out. You know,
so the front end is
the front end is the rearing, the taking care of, the raising. Then the back end is them, you know, appreciating you and being there for you. You know, so that way you deal with something now. Later on, you don't have to deal with the problem. You know, so you fix it now. You be what you're supposed to be now. So later on, that child can be what you need them to be. You know, I'm sure people have children so that they can not only continue their lineage, but also be there for them and take care of them.
And be the sadaqah jariyah, isn't it? Like the hadith of that. The three things that you will leave in this dunya. One of them is waladun salihun yad'u lah. A righteous child who will actually pray for you when you go.
Exactly.
Like when you're not longer in this dunya.
Nothing's better than that. And I always joke with my son, I'm like, you know, you better become a hafid so Allah can put a taj on me, you know, and I'm like, okay, mom, I will, inshallah, like, you know, and stuff. So I always joke with him about that, but I'm like, that's serious. I'm like, I you know, that's what I'm leaving behind in this world.